This is one of the longest, loudest arguments in modern history. A fight that outlived revolutions, toppled empires, bankrupted superpowers, and split the world in half. For over a century, capitalism and socialism weren't just economic theories, they were battle lines. Behind every patriotic speech, worker uprising, economic recession, and proxy war, this debate was always simmering. But here is the part no one tells you: neither system ever worked the way the textbooks promised. Not once, not anywhere. When the moment of true pressure arrived, war, famine, or collapse, the masks fell away, and the truth revealed itself with brutal clarity. Welcome to the pyramid economy, where money, power, and history collide, and where nothing is ever as simple as it looks. The story begins long before these words were even invented. For most of human history, the economy, as a concept, didn't exist. There was only the struggle for survival. Kings claimed their power was divine, landlords owned everything, and peasants produced just enough to keep from starving. For thousands of years, life was a zero-sum game. If someone rose, someone else had to fall. Then, the Industrial Revolution tore that world apart. Britain in the late 1700s was like a pressure cooker boiling with coal, iron, and restless ambition. Machines replaced muscle, and factories replaced small workshops. For the first time, individuals could invest and take risks on a scale previously reserved for royalty. Production exploded and wealth surged, but misery deepened just as fast. Cities choked on pollution, and children worked 12-hour shifts. Yet, no matter how ugly it got, one fact was undeniable: capitalism produced more goods and more wealth than the world had ever seen. Socialism arrived not as a utopian dream, but as a scream against this brutal industrial order. When figures like Marx and Engels looked at those smoky factories and exploited workers, they concluded that the system itself was a crime. To them, profit was simply the stolen labor of the worker. They believed that if the people owned the factories, if production served human need instead of private gain, society would finally be just. It sounded clean, moral, and elegant to the millions crushed under the gears of industry. It sounded like justice itself. So, what happened when socialism left the laboratory and hit the real world? The first great experiment was born in 1917, from the ashes of a collapsed Russian Empire. Lenin inherited a population that was illiterate and starving. The state seized everything, and bureaucrats set the prices. But a problem emerged: without competition, innovation died. Without personal reward, workers lost their drive. The result was chaos, bread lines, and famine. Strangely, capitalism wasn't looking much better at the time. It was great at creating wealth but terrible at distributing it. The Great Depression of 1929 was capitalism's massive heart attack. Banks collapsed, and unemployment skyrocketed. People faced a bitter truth: socialism promised equality but delivered scarcity, capitalism promised prosperity but delivered collapse. World War II tested both systems to their limits. After the war, the world became a giant laboratory. While the Soviet Union initially saw a rapid industrialization, the system began to clog by the 1970s. A country that could build space rockets couldn't produce a decent refrigerator. Capitalism, however, chose to adapt to survive. Learning from the Great Depression, it introduced social security systems, labor unions, and market regulations. Capitalism didn't necessarily become fair, but it became survivable. The Soviet Union didn't fall to bombs, it collapsed from within due to empty shelves and a stagnant economy. Today, the debate is no longer about pure systems. Look at Scandinavia. They blend a market economy with a powerful social safety net. Look at China, they call it socialism with Chinese characteristics, but in reality, it is nothing more than state-controlled capitalism. The ultimate truth is this: human nature does not change under any system. In capitalism, ambition turns into innovation, until it turns into exploitation. In socialism, equality turns into unity, until it turns into oppression. History has taught us one lesson: the one who adapts, survives. Capitalism lived because it formatted itself multiple times, Socialism collapsed where it remained rigid and stagnant. The challenges of the 21st century, AI, the climate crisis, and massive global debt, do not care about ideology. The successful countries of the future will be those that best harvest the creativity of the market alongside the long-term planning of the state. Because neither an unprotected market nor a rewardless equality can move a society forward, in the end, this fight was never just about systems. It was about power. And power never disappears, it only changes hands.